Hello, my name is Anton and I'm working in BLK2FLY team. In this video, alongside with my colleague Mateusz, we will be walking you through the main steps of preparing your BLK2FLY. I know, from first glance it looks quite tricky, but believe me, it is much more straightforward. We will guide you through each step and make sure you are fully prepared. So, let's make your BLK2FLY ready for its first flight. First, remove the BLK2FLY from the packaging, unfold it and place it on a stable horizontal surface, where you can comfortably work with it. Be careful when unfolding. Hold the inner, thicker part of the wing as it is stronger. Next, take out the charger and batteries. We need to charge the battery. Check the current charge level. Newly delivered batteries are typically at storage level charge. Connect the battery to the charger. You will notice a specific charging patterns once the charging begins. The charging time may vary depending on initial charge level, but it usually takes between 60 to 90 minutes. Insert the SIM card into the slot. When doing so, ensure that the cut corner of nano SIM is pointing downward with the contacts facing toward the middle of BLK2FLY. Ensure the SIM card is locked in place. You should hear a click. While the battery charges, take the opportunity to read through the user manual. Yes, it's tempting to skip, but trust me, knowing the ins and outs of your BLK2FLY operational capabilities can prevent a lot of unnecessary troubleshooting later. Plus, you'll get to impress people with all that technical know-how. Once fully charged, the battery LEDs will shut off. Now you can disconnect the battery and carefully attach it to the BLK2FLY. Be sure to support the drone body as you insert the battery to avoid placing excess stress on the landing legs, as they can break. Once you hear a click, you will know that the battery is locked in place. Now it's time to prepare the iPad and install the BLK2FLY Live app. First, ensure your iPad iOS version is current. Outdated software and cutting-edge drone tech don't mix. If an update is required, get that out of the way first. Next, head to the App Store and search for BLK2FLY Live. Install the app. Now, let's pair the BLK2FLY with the iPad. To do this, press and hold the battery button until the LEDs will turn blue. Wait a few seconds more until the LiDAR LED ring will start blinking blue, signaling that the BLK2FLY is in pairing mode and ready for action. Once the app is installed, launch it and accept all permissions, as they are essential for the operations. After reading through and accepting the software license agreement, familiarize yourself with the current system limitations. Every cutting-edge system has its boundaries, and BLK2FLY is no different. Confirm that you understand the limitations by ticking the appropriate box and press confirm. The app will scan for available devices, and once your BLK2FLY is detected, it will pair automatically. Bluetooth connection is used for pairing. That means the iPad has to be within 10 meters distance from BLK2FLY. After pairing, the drone will finish its booting process. Once the LiDAR LED ring turns solid green, the system is fully booted and you're good to go. Next step, firmware updates. We know, there's always one more update. Click the notification that takes you directly to the firmware and updates section. A red firmware update warning means you absolutely must update before flying. Takeoff will be blocked. While a yellow warning means that the update is optional. Be sure to read the release notes to get up to speed on the latest changes. You can preload the firmware into your iPad via Wi-Fi or let the app handle the download and update process using mobile data. That's your choice. During the update process, keep the BLK2FLY app active, and whatever you do, don't turn off the BLK2FLY. Patience is the key. Depending on your download speed, the update may take a bit of time. Just enough time to have a cup of your favorite coffee or tea. Once the update is complete, the BLK2FLY will automatically reboot and the app will reconnect. Easy, right? Read through Analytics Agreement. If you are fine with sharing some data for product improvement purposes, tap on Agree button. Now, let's get some essential settings in place before your BLK2FLY takes its first flight. Press on the hamburger icon on the top left corner, which will take you to the settings. Profile section. Here you can sign in to your Reality Cloud Studio account. This will allow you to upload and review scans directly in the app. General settings. Here you can select the system language you prefer for the app. Press Continue, then go to Preferred Language selection and select the language you would like to have in the app. For the purpose of the video, we will keep it in English. When the language is selected, come back to the app. The setting will be applied immediately. Now let's go through general settings. First, flight statistics. Here you can find the total number of flights, total flight time, as well as covered distance. Now we can only see zeros, but soon enough this will be filled with data from your future flights. Now let's connect your BLK2FLY to wireless internet network. Go to WLAN connection and search for visible networks you can connect to. In our case, we'll try to connect to our office Wi-Fi network. Tap on it. Enter the password for your network and type join. After a few seconds, your BLK2FLY should be connected to internet. That can be useful when downloading firmware updates or exchanging data with Reality Cloud Studio. As long as this network will be available, BLK2FLY will reconnect it in future. Mobile Internet Setup. In General Settings, click on LTE Connection, which will take you to SIM card and LTE connection settings. Here we can manually configure APN. Also, DNS can be configured manually, but in most cases that works automatically. We can use connection tests to make sure everything works. Also, we can enable or disable roaming. That is extremely useful when working in border regions and if you would like to avoid excessive bills for your data. You can also enable or disable LTE completely if you prefer. RTK configuration. RTK is extremely important for the SLAM to work correctly, especially in open environments. Let's set up Hexagon SmartNet on this device. Select Hexagon SmartNet, then come back to Settings. First of all, we need to enter the server address. Let's do it. Next, we go to Edit Credentials and update our username and password, which we usually get from an RTK provider. Let's do a test connection test. Unauthorized. So clearly something didn't work as expected. Let's try to find the problem. Double check the configuration settings. And here is the mistake. The server address is wrong. Let's fix this quickly. Once the mistake is fixed, we can try rerunning the NRTK connection test. Let's do it. Tap on Test Connection. And here we go, success! We have successfully connected to Hexagon SmartNet. Next, set up Remote ID for your BLK2FLY. Remote ID may be essential for operations in some countries. Click on Remote ID and then edit the registration number as well as 3-digit security code. When ready, press Save. Your remote ID is now activated. Check the privacy settings. Here you can enable or disable analytics and remote support. We recommend keeping both options enabled. Analytics help us improving the product, and remote support allows Leica engineers to access your BLK2FLY remotely if you ever need assistance. Firmware section. Here we can check the current firmware version as well as run updates. When you would like to use your BLK with another iPad, you have to unpair it first. Tap on Unpair BLK2FLY and then confirm your intentions in dialog window. This time we will press Cancel as we don't want to do this. Last but not least, Factory Reset. This function will remove all user settings, all captured data as well as flight logs from this device. Doing this prior to support case may void the warranty. And be aware that this action cannot be undone. You will also have to repeat the pairing procedure. We don't want to perform that right now, so in this case, once again, we will press Cancel. Now, let's check the scanning settings. Scan velocity. The maximum scanning speed settings define the target speed of the scanner for all autonomous scanning modes. It can be set anywhere between 0.5 and 3.5 meters per second. However, the optimal scanning speed to achieve the best point cloud quality is 2 meters per second. Now let's set up the parameters for live image missions. We recommend to keep the scan line distance somewhere between 4 and 6 meters, and keeping the minimal possible distance to the object of interest, which is 4 meters. Max inward and outward distances can be also set here. This time we will keep it at 5 meters. This defines the maximum distance allowing BLK2FLY to divert from its original flight path. We will keep it at 5 meters. 2D map scanning settings. Similar principles apply here. The recommended line spacing for speed of 2 meters per second is 4 meters. Let's reduce it to 4. Max upward distance. This settings defines how far up BLK2FLY is allowed to divert from original height of 2D mission. Usually this setting is adjusted for each object we are scanning individually. Minimum scanning distance. This will define how far BLK2FLY is staying from the surface which is being scanned. Now let's check out one useful feature BLK2FLY has: Custom 2D Map. You can browse and select for georeferenced image file, for example in GeoTIFF format, and use it as image overlay in the map. It can be used as a navigation aid or for mission planning. Some areas in the world do not have up-to-date maps, and sometimes the quality and resolution of imagery is below expectations. In all such situations, custom 2D maps will help. You can use both self-made maps or download it from geoinformational resources. Automatic scan recording. This option may be enabled if you would like your BLK to automatically enable scan recording immediately after takeoff. Increased sensitivity mode. This setting toggles BLK2FLY scanner between normal and increased sensitivity. Increased sensitivity mode allows more details to be scanned, such as thin objects, reflective surfaces, or dark surfaces. And now, let's move on to flight settings. First of all, here we can set the maximum flight altitude. BLK2FLY will not be able to fly higher than the set value. That is useful to set according to local regulations or limitations. We will keep this setting at 120 meters. Velocity limits for manual flying. Here we can set the maximum speeds for both indoor and outdoor modes with or without obstacle avoidance. If you are new to BLK2FLY, we recommend keeping it below 2 meters per second. You can adjust speed limits according to your needs at any time. In Control Interaction section, we can adjust the distance of double tap control. This can be set anywhere between 1 and 15 meters. Let's configure the return behavior. This will define the way how the BLK2FLY automatically comes back after the battery is reaching the low level. We recommend keeping it on return to launch mode, so the BLK2FLY will head back to its original takeoff location. However, if you prefer return to user, the BLK2FLY will navigate to the iPad location. Just be prepared for that. At Return Path Options, you can choose between the classic horizontal return path, where BLK2FLY extends to the set altitude and then flies horizontally home, or a direct return path. Either way, BLK2FLY will avoid obstacles on its way. Lost link behavior. Here you configure what happens in the event of lost communication link. There are 3 options. First, none. BLK2FLY will continue its current task. Second option, BLK2FLY will complete the current mission and then automatically return to the landing point. Third option, BLK2FLY will immediately trigger an automatic return to the landing point. For the second and third options, you can also define the timeout. Now set your preferred joystick mode. Most people operate with mode 2, but if you prefer mode 3, that is also available. You can toggle between indoor and outdoor flight modes in Settings menu or directly in the flight screen. In the battery management screen, you will find detailed information about the charging state of the battery, firmware version, total charging cycles, and much more. Here you can also trigger the battery calibration or set the battery to automatically discharge to the storage or transportation level. Just keep in mind that this charging process can take a bit of time, and yes, the battery might warm up while draining the energy. That is part of the process. Automatic discharge will start immediately after the battery is removed from BLK2FLY. If you would like to abort this charging process, simply insert the battery back to BLK2FLY. Let's power off the system by long pressing the battery button. That's it! We're almost ready for takeoff. Just a few more steps left. Each time before you head out for flying, make sure that the cameras, LiDAR and other sensors are clean. This is critical for navigation, obstacle avoidance, and of course for scan data quality. The delivery cardboard packaging box is not suitable for everyday transportation, as it is not providing sufficient protection for the device. For transportation, we recommend to use the BLK2FLY hard case. Align the propellers in line with the body of BLK2FLY and fold the wings by holding the inner part of the wing frame. All required equipment fits very nicely inside the hard case. Folded BLK2FLY, up to 5 batteries, charger, and iPad. That is everything you need for flying. Hard case can be comfortably rolled, pulling the retractable handle on a flat surface. It can be also carried in case you have some obstacles on your way. Let's go for our first flight. We recommend choosing the big open area for your first flights. The area where you can comfortably practice and get used to the controls. Mark your takeoff location and power up the system. If you are planning to take off from a grass surface, as on our video, make sure that the high grass is not obstructing the propellers. If necessary, you can use the landing mat. All new BLK2FLY units will require a compass calibration. Remove any metal objects like phones, wallets or keys that can disturb the magnetic field. Before starting the calibration, the BLK2FLY must be placed on the ground and stay static. Be aware that iPad may also cause magnetic interference. Place it somewhere or ask your colleagues to hold it in such way so that you can see the screen. Go to Settings, Calibration and press on Start Calibration. Calibration is initialized. Follow the guidance on the app. By the way, when you're doing compass calibration, it is important to be in open area, far from any metal objects or buildings. Rotate it smoothly and slowly as shown on the app. Keep moving until the app requests next step, even if it takes more than one turn. Green LED ring will indicate that the position is correct. But if you see a yellow light, position has to be adjusted. Calibration was successful. Now BLK2FLY is ready for its first flight. Now it is time to have some fun. Try out the controls, practice takeoffs and landings. You can test Wi-Fi control link at short range and LTE at longer distances. Outdoor flight is a great opportunity to test the RTK positioning quality. Practice your flying step by step and avoid any unnecessary risk during your first flights.